This is File 404. A new family moved into this home, and after only 28 days, they fled, claiming it was haunted. Now, the home had been emptied for 2 years prior to that. And when the new tenants moved in, all seemed fine, until one night when the paranormal activity started. The walls began bleeding. Furniture moved on its own. And one day, they even found a pentagram carved into the floorboards in the shape of a doorway. At first, it was subtle things, like hearing their names being called when they were home alone. Then footsteps above their heads when they were the only people in the house. But then it escalated. As he began his investigation, he uncovered some disturbing history about the house. Apparently, the previous owner had died in the home under mysterious circumstances. Some said he took his own life. Others said he was murdered by a demon. Could this be the reason for the activity? One day they heard screams in the middle of the night. He discovered a secret room in the basement where satanic rituals were most likely performed. He also found evidence that the previous owner had been involved in some very dark magic. Could this be the source of the evil in the house? Let me know in the comments below. Then things began to move on their own. A chair, a table, pictures on the wall. Were they telling the truth? The paranormal investigator decided to look into their background. He discovered that they had a history of making false claims about paranormal activity. Instead, it was a case of a disturbed individual who had used the home for his own evil purposes. The previous owner had been involved in some very dark magic, and his presence was what was causing all of the disturbance. They had previously rented a different home and claimed it was haunted. They had even written a story about their experience in the home for Reader's Digest, and it had been published. But the paranormal investigators suspected that they had made the whole thing up. Things that hadn't been moved in years suddenly were. They insisted that they had not made up the story and that the house was truly haunted. The paranormal investigator was skeptical, but he couldn't prove that they were lying. So he decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then the walls began to bleed. Huge crimson stains that looked like a handprint or a footprint would appear overnight. It's a sad case of a home that was turned into a nightmare by its previous owner. Sometimes they would find a pentagram carved into the walls as well. It was then that they knew they had to get out of there. When the officers arrived, they found the house in complete disarray. Things were overturned, trashed. It looked like a tornado would come through. The walls were covered in pentagrams and handprints. Blood was everywhere. It was clear that something dark had been going on here. They contacted the police, who brought in an expert to investigate. Was this really a haunted house? Or were the new tenants lying? Let's investigate. In the city of Madison, Wisconsin, USA, a 2-story home had remained empty for 2 years. No one wanted to live there. On the outside, it looked normal. It just needed some work. But on the inside, the rooms were filled with trash, and the smell lingered like stale waste. It was disgusting, but to some, it would be the perfect place to start a new life. A young couple named David and Sarah were looking for a new home, and when they saw this house, they thought it was perfect. They had no idea what they were getting themselves into. As soon as they moved their stuff in, things felt off. David and Sarah were terrified. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't live like this. So they called the police. The police brought in a paranormal investigator to see if the house was haunted. As the investigation continued, the paranormal investigator uncovered even more disturbing details. But what about the new tenants, David and Sarah? He confronted them with his findings, but they denied everything. He continued his investigation and eventually uncovered the truth about the house. It was not a case of possession or demonic activity. But why did he choose this particular house? The answer, it was just an ordinary house until he turned it into his own personal hell. So what really happened to the house? It's still standing, but it's abandoned. No one has lived there since the police investigation. But what do you think? Was it a haunted house or a hidden truth? And if you want to see more files like this, stay tuned. More files are coming soon. Another terrifying tale today from our archive. This is File 404.